Let's get this in focus first, shall we? Alright, well hey guys, thanks for watching. Welcome to another video from Screen Photographic. Now I know I've been a little bit quiet on this channel. A couple of reasons for that. One, I've been out taking pictures as a photographer. That's of course what I do. And I've been working with some of the best models in the country to produce some really fantastic shots. So I genuinely mean that. I'm not saying that to pay lip service to them. They are some of the best models in the country. I'm very lucky to live in the area that I live in. And we've been working hard to produce some quality images which you can view on Facebook and on Instagram, and I'll put links in the description for you below, as well as on the website, which is still being redesigned. It's a little bit cleaner than it was before if you visited, but it's now a tool to help push me forward. I've also been doing more paid shoots and formulating a plan really from the first half of this year to portfolio building, to now looking to see how I can make more money from my photography, how I can start getting noticed in more areas, and how I can really start pushing on to the next level. It's going to be an exciting 12 to 18 months, and when I've got something to report, I'll do so. But the subject of this video is really aimed at somebody who maybe is starting out, but not just that as well. And it's a little bit of expectation management combined with portfolio management. And it's really talking today about people who expect you to do work free of charge. Now we've probably heard this story before, people looking for a photographer, and it's something that I'll come on to later on from my own personal experiences. But people looking for a photographer, and they're going to pick the local art student, or they're going to pick the local enthusiast from the camera club, or they're going to pick maybe somebody just starting out, somebody a little bit raw to the industry, or somebody who's eager to impress and has got a camera and just been confident taking pictures, and seeking to get to that next level. And the expectation is that you'll do it for free. Now the reason why I think you'll do it for free is because all you do is press a button on a camera, and that's something that I've talked about many times and will talk about many times in other videos going forwards. Photography is obviously more than that. It's quoting a client, it's travelling to a shoot, it's hiring a makeup artist, hiring a model if the shoot requires it. You may have to go to a venue in your own time, ask questions about what lighting they're allowed to use, ask questions about what you can and can't do in the venue. Do you have to do a risk assessment? Is it a case of turning up and just taking pictures? Then you've got the post-processing, the travelling to and from the venue, any break you might be able to have, your lunch or a glass of water or a cup of tea or whatever to go with it. All of these things are at a cost to you. Now I'm going to start with a story I can tell you about an experience I had about 18 months ago. Somebody contacted me on Facebook to say that they were looking for a photographer to photograph their heavy metal music event. The music photography at the time is something that I wanted to get into, and it's still something that I want to get into going forwards perhaps. And what they wanted was somebody who'd go along to an event, be there all night. It started about, I think, 5:30 in the evening, and it finished about midnight, so it was quite a long day. Take pictures of all the bands, take pictures of all the crowd, and try and get some of the ambience of the event. And they were going to pay me, yay! But they weren't going to pay me in cash. Oh no! They were going to pay me in beer. They said, look, you can have as many drinks as you want all night on us, as long as you come and take these pictures. And I replied with, no. To be honest, I replied with, I'm insulted that you've even asked me. And they were somewhat taken aback by that. And they asked me what my problem was really, and why I had that attitude. And they said that, they'd worked with a photographer previously who'd taken pictures for their Facebook and their website, for the musical promoters' own use, as well as taking pictures for their flyers and their posters and some of their literature that had been distributed locally anyway. They said they had a bit of an issue with their previous photographer, that she was no longer taking pictures for them. Now you can probably put two and two together and work out what's happened here. Basically the guy who was running the event claimed he didn't have a lot of money. None of us do these days. He claimed that he had to pay for the event. He claimed that he had to pay for security, for lighting, for sound engineers, for bands of course, because without the bands there is no event. But he was selling tickets, and these tickets were going to recompense some of the cost back to him. Hopefully he made profit on the night, and I hope he did. But he said that he was a reputable event, that he always paid his contractors. but he wasn't prepared to pay the photographer. He gave it the old, this will be great for your exposure. A little bit of research told me that the guy just did local events at local pubs. We weren't talking Glastonbury Festival. My picture wasn't going to put it in front of NME. It wasn't going to go onto a well-known Facebook site like Drowned in Sound or something like that, where I'd be fully credited with all my contact details. So for me, it was a no-brainer. But unfortunately, we see this more and more in the industry. I was overhearing a conversation at my other job. A couple of people I know fairly well. They're talking about an experience they'd had recently with a photographer. And they'd asked her if she'd do the work for free. Because she was quite young, because she was starting out, she said yes. And they were delighted, you know. And they said, this young girl's going to take pictures for us, and you know, it's going to be free of charge. It's going to be absolutely fantastic and, you know, wonderful. And I'm sure she did a good job. I haven't seen the results myself. I'm sure she did okay. And I'm sure she probably enjoyed herself on the shoot. Let's hope she did. Let's hope she learned something from it. And let's hope she took some pictures which everyone was happy with. But she's done that work for free. Now, what's going to happen is they're not going to tell their friends and family that this young lady has done work for them completely free of charge. They're going to show pictures and say, do you like these pictures? And people are going to say yes. They're not going to say, well, you know, recommend them to a friend and say, well, look, here she is. You're looking for a photographer for your wedding. Here she is. This is her rate. Just to backtrack a little bit, sorry, yes, they're going to tell her it didn't free of charge. So she's now going to get her next job, and that's going to be free. Why? Because she's already done one for free. Okay, if you go to another job, that's going to be for free. Now, people can counter that and say, well, she's building up her portfolio. No, she does that in her spare time. Okay, nobody works for exposure. If an electrician qualifies and then comes and wires your house, he doesn't go home at the end of the day with that penny in his pocket. When your local supermarket or your local shop first opens, it doesn't open its doors on day one and say to everybody, here you go, the shop is open, everything's completely free. No. When an airline launches an aircraft for the very, very first time, puts 4,000 people in the air and says, let's fly from Sydney to London, we're going to send you up there and, you know, it's going to be completely on the house. It doesn't work like that, does it? And the reason it doesn't work like that is because of overheads. And, you know, it's simple business knowledge. I'm not going to teach you to suck eggs, but asking somebody to do something free of charge really is insulting. You know. Now, yes, okay, if you're building up your portfolio and if you want to branch out into a new area and you're looking for free work off your own back, that's different. So you might be a portrait photographer and you want to move into, say, music photography as an example. Probably take photos of your friend's band in your own time or for your own back. Okay, yes, that's free work, but that's free work that you've gone out and you've done yourself to put into a portfolio to show somebody and say, well, look, I'm getting into music photography. Here's the work I've done. Okay, here are my rates for my images. That's an option for you. Wildlife photography, perhaps you go to the local zoo on a family day out. You'll take pictures, you'll then send them to perhaps a wildlife magazine and say, look, here's my pictures, here's my rates. If you want me to go to this location, take these pictures for you, I'll do that. Okay. Perhaps you're a wildlife photographer, you want to get into portrait photography. Take a couple of pictures of your wife, your husband, your son, your daughter, a couple of family friends, maybe a work colleague, whoever. Stick it on your website, stick it on your Facebook and say, well, look, I do professional portraits. Here's my rates. Now that's how you build your portfolio, and that's the free work that you do yourself. Okay. Whenever somebody comes to you for work, they should be prepared to pay. Now I get budgets. Yes, of course. People have budgetary requirements. People have budgetary restraints. You know, people like to get things for as cheap as they can. Skilled labour isn't cheap. Cheap labour isn't skilled. Argument for another day, perhaps. But you can sit down and you can negotiate a rate and say, well, okay, well, I'll do the shoot for a set amount of money. And the other half will be products or services from you to the value of. So I don't know what wedding photographers charge because I'm not a wedding photographer. So let's pluck a figure out of the air. £4,000, that's a lot of money. If people haven't got that kind of money, but they want the best images, maybe they valet cars, you can say, well, okay, I'll do the shoot for you for £2,000. As long as you value my car for free for a number of months or something like that. And that's working for exchange, and that's completely legitimate and that's completely fine. But yeah, expecting somebody to work for free when they've got overheads to pay is not acceptable. Always push back. Now, if you are a new photographer and you are looking to price your work and you don't know where to price yourself in the market, you could ask other photographers. Maybe they'll tell you, maybe they won't. But think of a rate. How much is it going to cost you to get to an event? Or how much is it going to cost you to get to a location? Is your equipment insured? Do you have to get the bus? Do you have to get the train? Do you even have to fly, perhaps, if it's some considerable distance to the shoot? Or are you going to be able to buy your own food? Is there accommodation? You know, you're sitting down and processing the images at the end of the day. Have you agreed to supply 100 images? How long is it going to take you to edit these? Okay, an hourly rate. Are you going to charge by the hour? Are you going to charge by the shoot? That's stuff that you'll work out yourself. You know how much you need to live on, and you know how much it's going to take to make it all worth your while. And so it's easy to budget from there, and then in that respect, it's easy to push forward. Now, if your prices are too high, you'll get no clients. You'll know quite quickly. You know, if you're pricing yourself at £50,000 a photo shoot, that's a ridiculous figure, I know, then you're not going to get any clients. Whereas if you're pricing yourself at £50 a photo shoot, that's cheap. Now, people like to get things cheaply, as I say, but people also have an opinion of you get what you pay for. And obviously, the lower price you go, it does speak of a lack of professionalism a little bit, doesn't it? So yeah, price your market. You'll know after a few shoots. Test that price with people who are looking to hire you for professional events or weddings or a number of different ways. And do nothing for free that somebody offers for you. But always go out and learn. Always take pictures. Always build your own portfolio for free in your own time and explore many different types of photography. Join your local camera club because they can give you opportunities to shoot with models. They can do landscape shoots and days out and things like that, which are always useful. Look up different lighting techniques. Buy yourself a cheap flash gun, 50 quid for a young nuo on the internet. Experiment with it. Put those results on your Facebook. Put those results on your Instagram. Put those results on your website, and use that as your free work in your own time, as your hobby, as your free learning. From there, then when you've got the confidence to start approaching people for work, or when people are approaching you for work, and it does happen, then you've got the confidence to ask for a price. If they don't want to pay it, they'll go elsewhere. You've lost nothing other than a 5 or 10 minute email or a 5 or 10 minute phone conversation. If they do want to pay it, well, fantastic. The work you do, well, no, don't knock them for 6. They'll tell all their friends that you took those pictures. I'll hand out your business cards. Your next client will come along. So don't be disheartened if people are expecting you to do work free of charge. Just don't do it. Explain to them why you can't. Okay. From there, build your plan, build your portfolio in your own time. Push out for that free work. Okay. It can be disheartening when you first start out. It can be a little bit nerve-wracking, thinking, okay, I've got to do all this work free of charge. You really haven't. Well, that's the end of today's video. I hope you've learned something. I hope you don't feel that I've ranted a little bit. Please comment below what you think and what you'd like to see more of on this channel. I've got plans to do more behind the scenes stuff at shoots, more tutorials, more image editing, maybe interviews with other more experienced photographers. That would be some fantastic quality interviews I'd like to bring in, and expand both our knowledge of photography, mine and yours, and maybe interviews with models as well. Watch your space on that. That could be something quite exciting for you very soon. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've learned something from it, and I'll see you in the next one. Speak to you soon. Bye.